Okay, hello everyone. We are streaming now. It's been a while, but we're doing a politics stream. Just give me 1 second to share up the link in Discord and Twitter. I got several things I want to cover. So we're just gonna have to hop into those when we get to them. I think I'm gonna start with the Ben Shapiro WAP story. Or I don't even know if you can call it a story, but you know, that stuff. The Ben Shapiro WAP. Let me pop out chat real quick and move it over here so that I can see your chat on screen. Alright, just had to tweet it out real quick. And then Discord. Boom. Oh, phone's going off. Okay, cool. So now that we got all that out of the way, let's open up YouTube so that we can get ready to react Anderson to stuff. There's an echo? Is there actually an echo? I'm echoing. Interesting. Hold on. Let me pull this up on my stream to see why I'm echoing. Let me pull this up on my stream to see. Wait, am I echoing? It doesn't sound like it's echoing for me. It's like there's two of me talking. Hold on. Let me check one more time. There should be an echo now because now I'm listening to see. Hold on. Let me check one more time. Okay. There should be an echo now because okay. It doesn't sound like an echo to me. So I don't think I have anything I can fix. But without further ado, what I wanted to talk about first, hopefully the echo's better now. If not, I guess we're just gonna have to deal with this. I did this once on a live stream. What happened? I'm confused. Okay, but we're gonna talk about the WAP controversy. So let's see if I can find it on Twitter. Here, I'll just search it on YouTube. It's taking too much work to look for it on Twitter. WAP. Ben Shapiro. Okay, so is it just a clip of it? Here.
I said certified freak.
I'm not trying to find an edit. I'm trying to find the actual clip. It's fake? Sorry, bet. Okay, I can look it up on Twitter one more time. Let's see. Is it?
With some
No, that's a remix. Golly.
whores in this house. There's some
Okay, here we go.
whores in this house.
Okay. Here is the Twitter clip. I can. Here we go. Here's the Twitter clip. Jordan Ewell. Yeah, here we go. We found it. we're gonna watch the Twitter clip. We're gonna go over it. So for those of you who might be living under a rock, which I doubt is any of you if you're somehow on my channel, Ben Shapiro basically was critiquing this, well, critiquing if that's what you want to call it, this music video or this song that Cardi B made. It's I don't even remember the name for it. It might be WAP. All I know is that the song is shit and Ben Shapiro's criticisms of it are shit. But let's watch.
House. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. Hold up. I said certified freak 7 days a week. Wet ass P word. Make that pullout game weak. Yeah, you effin' with some wet ass P word. P word is female genitalia. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. Give me everything you got for this wet ass P word. Beat it up, N word. Catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top.
Oh, I didn't know I had to stay up for it to go.
It's inside. Spit in my mouth. Look in my eyes. This P word is wet. Come take a dive. And continue.
Yo, what's up, Sleep? We're just going over the WAP video real quick. To preface it, I said the song's shit. Ben Shapiro's criticisms of the song is shit. I'll touch more on it in a little bit. And then we'll talk about the leftist response.
Along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like, a lot more vulgar. Talk your S word, bite your lip, ask for a call while you ride that D word. You really ain't never gonna F him for a thing. He already made his mind up before he came. Now get your boots and your coat for this wet ass P word. Pay my tuition just to kiss me on this wet ass P. Right, so this.
Yeah. Pump, this is what happens when you can't play music due to DMCA. It's just Ben Shapiro. It's all Ben Shapiro covers. And I can't say that it's not, like, I can't say this is worse than the song. Like, honestly, this is about the same level as the song. Due to, I guess, artistic abilities. I think the song is just straight garbage. It sounds garbage. But yeah.
Guys, this is what feminists fought for. This is what the feminist movement was all about. It's not it's not really about, women being treated as independent, full, rounded human.
Okay, this is ironic because what Ben Shapiro is trying to say right here is that the feminist movement fought not for independence or not to be like seen as independent people, right? But the video is a manifestation of being independent, right? If you want to sexualize yourself, you should be able to. Cool? As long as it's in the appropriate context, which this music video on the internet is fine, right? Rather, what Ben Shapiro is arguing right now is restricting people's independence because he's trying to claim that this, like, sexualizing yourself is bad, especially if you're women, apparently, because Ben Shapiro hates women. So, I just find it ironic that Ben Shapiro is being, like, doesn't Ben Shapiro claim to be libertarian? Like, I don't know. It's ironic that he's trying to police people if he claims that. And also, it's pure, like, it's not going against the feminist movement, sexualizing yourself, right? Which is what Ben's trying to allude to. That's my main point right here.
Human beings, it's about wet ass P word. And if you say anything differently, it's because you're a misogynist, you see. It gets really vulgar.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Scorpion Sketch, by the way, for doing that tweet on Twitter. I appreciate it very much. So, without further ado, the song is bad. That's okay, right? Like, you have the right to make a bad song if you want to. I don't care. The sexualization is fine. If you want to sexualize yourself, go right ahead. No one's stopping you as long as it's in the appropriate context, which it would be hard to argue that a music video online that's obviously not meant for kids is. Right? That's all fine. Ben Shapiro's criticisms are wrong. Cool? So, you might be asking, what are my criticisms of the leftist response to this Ben Shapiro video? So, to hop into that, thank you, by the way. I don't know how to say your name on here, but Scorpion Sketch, thank you. So, without further ado, if I could find any tweets, that'd be great. But I'm not going to be able to because I'm too lazy. The problem is with the leftist response, I don't know if any of you have seen it, but most of them have been making fun of Ben because Ben tweeted out something on Twitter saying, like, his wife said something along the lines that she's like a gynecologist or whatever it is, and she said something along the lines that if you're getting that wet, that you should go see a doctor, right? And the leftist response to that was to make fun of Ben for not being able to get his wife sexually aroused, right? His doctor wife. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. But basically, the leftist response was to make fun of Ben for not being able to get his wife sexually aroused. And the problem with this is that the leftist response is... I'm not gonna lie. I found the music video like funny, how purely awkward it was for Ben Shapiro reciting it. The leftist response I didn't find as funny because like what the left is doing here when they're making like fun of Ben Shapiro for not being able to get his wife sexually aroused is they're playing into toxic masculinity, and that Ben shouldn't be like they're trying to sort of deteriorate like Ben and try to make him seem less manly. And they're sort of playing into that dichotomy that if you aren't able to do X, if you're not able to please women, blah, 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 then you're not a man, right? Which already seems bad enough, right? And to further elaborate on that, it's like whenever the left does this to people like Ben Shapiro, they're playing into these false, like inherently conservative binaries that are like artificially made, right? The binary of, oh, you can either do this and you can either like sexually arouse your wife and that makes you a man, or you can't and that makes you not a man. So you can say like the argument against this that you can say is like, oh, but you have to like do it because this is how they perceive as a man. But the argument, because you know it's true. This is how conservatives like perceive men. If you can't do like please women, then you're not seen as man. If you can, then you are. But the problem there is that you're re-entrenching that thought and the binary, right? You're not challenging it. You're reaffirming their beliefs. Which, if you agree toxic masculinity is bad and all that, then, like, you probably shouldn't be doing that. Anyways, that's my take on the whole Ben Shapiro WAP situation, is that the left has, like, demonstrated nothing here. They're not even, like, sure, you might be getting dunks on Ben Shapiro, but they're dunks that go counter to your ideology, or at least they should. Sleep says, y'all's good take. I agree. It's like, I'm just saying, like, all these leftists, and it's like, you're just playing into toxic masculinity in that narrative, and I mean, whatever. Okay. Scorpion Sketch says, can we just laugh at the idea that saying women getting wet is a medical condition? How sexist is it to medicalize women's pleasure? Can we laugh at the idea that saying women getting wet is a medical condition? Yeah, I think that it's fine to like laugh at Ben Shapiro's like ludicrous saying that like women being able to get sexually aroused is a medical issue, but it's also like well, that is also probably sexist. It's also just as bad, if not worse, to say that if you can't get women sexually aroused, that you're like not manly, or to utilize that as an attack on like Ben Shapiro's manhood, right? Which I also think like the concept of manhood is bogus, but it's like you play into that concept when you do this. But anyways, that's my take on the entire thing. But yeah, so that's the WAP whole shtick that I gotta go through. I don't want to spend that much time on it because it really is irrelevant. It's not very important. I don't really care that much about Ben Shapiro. It's cool, it's funny, you get a couple dunks on him because he's like awkward and like it's honestly the funniest part is like his refusal to actually like use any curse words. It's like, you're a grown ass man and you can't say pussy, you can't say dick. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. So anyways, let's move on. What do we have else? I think some people sent in something. I can't remember though. Is capitalism too big to fail? Let's watch this. 16 minutes. Let's.
So
Okay.
capitalist realism.
Too long though? Okay, okay. If it's too long, I won't watch it. Let's see. Is the professional managerial class one any shorter? Oh yeah, it's 6 minutes. Okay, cool. We'll watch this one. Oh, okay. That's fine.
Over the past few decades,
I just want to watch stuff. I don't have anything like planned other than the WAP stuff. I just had the WAP stuff planned. Okay, this is Paul Morn. I don't know who that is, but
over the past few decades, there's been a growing trend, especially among a specific section of left liberals, to refer to what they call the PMC, or professional managerial class.
I like how this individual starts out with saying like liberal. It's like, I don't think that. I mean, I'm not a liberal. At least I don't think so. And I'd say that there's a professional managerial class.
The term was coined by John and Barbara Ehrenreich in the 1970s and is perpetuated by modern social democrats like Adolf Reed Jr. Use of the term bears the attractive characteristic.
Can I put my face in a corner box? I don't have my camera set up right now. Otherwise I would. But yeah, I also just like, I don't really want to put my face online because of like I try to put as little like personal information out when I'm like a political streamer. It's because like people who are involved in politics online are crazy and will do dumb shit.
Of appearing at a cursory glance to be rooted in a systemic Marxist class analysis, but without the baggage that proletariat and bourgeoisie carry. Indeed, it's used by some erroneously.
Wait, are they trying to say that the professional managerial class like doesn't carry the same baggage as the bourgeoisie? And it's, I mean, you want to start streaming too, but you're afraid of getting booted from the military? Oh, that's completely understandable. Join the military esports team. Did they just say that the professional managerial class doesn't hold the same baggage as like the bourgeoisie? It's like that's completely not necessarily true. It would depend on the individual who's using it and how they're using it. That's just an assertion that this person randomly made, but okay.
As a synonym for the term petit bourgeois. But what
it is. They're synonymous essentially. Is the petit bourgeois and the professional managerial class, but okay.
What does it actually mean? According to the Ehrenreichs, the professional managerial class are salaried mental workers who do not own the means of production and whose major function in the social division of labour may be described broadly as a reproduction of capitalist culture and capitalist class relations. But is it fair to exclude from the proletariat heavily exploited public sector teachers, nurses and other professionals who often make less than minimum wage, are forced to work excruciatingly long hours, often unpaid, and are often at the forefront of militant workers' struggles? Actually, forget the question, is it fair to exclude them? Instead we have to ask, does it make political sense to do?
Wait, I'm confused. Why would they be excluded under that definition? I haven't gotten any like articulation for why that definition would exclude teachers. Or why that would mean teachers are professional managerial class, or I'm confused.
Do this. Whose interests might it serve to cordon these workers off from the rest of the working class?
Yeah, wait, were they? I'm so confused. Like, why would like even based on the definition that this person gave, I'm confused why teachers fit under that. Hold on. The salaried mental workers who do not own the means of production and whose major function in the social division of labor may be described broadly as the reproduction of... Okay. Salaried mental workers who do not own the means of production whose major function in the social division of labor may be described broadly as the reproduction of capitalist culture and capitalist class relations. Okay, I feel like based on this definition, like I guess you could consider like them the professional managerial class. I just don't think that this is necessarily like an accurate definition, because it would seem that more so it's not just people who are like salaried mental workers, right? It doesn't seem like you would consider someone part of the professional managerial class just because their labor is immaterial. I feel like it would more so be like associated with actual like managerial work, like, you know, like you know, being a manager, or like owning a small shop, or like a kiosk or something. But I don't know.
Who do not own the means of production and whose major function in the social division of labour may be described broadly as a reproduction of capitalist culture and capitalist class relations. But is it fair to exclude from the proletariat heavily exploited public sector teachers, nurses and other professionals who often make less than minimum wage, are forced to work excruciatingly long hours, often unpaid, and are often at the forefront of militant workers' struggles? Actually, forget the question, is it fair to exclude them? Instead we have to ask, does it make political sense to do this? Whose interests might it serve to cordon these workers off from the rest of the working class?
No one's doing that though. Like, the definition that you picked for PMC seems absurd to me.
I'll assume that you've heard of the divide and conquer strategy.
Everyone knows about the divide and conquer strategy, but like that's just not what's happening in this sense. It's like people can be labeled as PMC, and they can be class traders if they want to be, right? Like, no one's denying that. And it doesn't seem like, I don't think anyone like is being like cut off just because like they're being called PMC. Like, anyone who would claim that they aren't a socialist or aren't leftist because they're being called PMC wouldn't be a socialist anyways. It's like Ariel Scarcella when she claimed to like leave the left. It's like those type shit. It's like you were never actually left.
Furthermore, this is fundamentally at odds with the Marxist analysis of class, which is defined by people's material relationship to the means of production. The bourgeoisie or capitalist ruling class owns the means of production. It makes its living by virtue of that. The proletariat or working class doesn't own the means of production and instead needs to sell its labour power in order to survive. And there are of course various substrata of each class. As we can
Wait, you just said there's various substrata of each class. That's the whole point of that's the point of the professional managerial class, is that they're part of the substratas. Like, they are in between both, because they're like bourgeoisie in the sense that they like coordinate with labor, and that they actually like have to like they're in charge of other laborers, and they're sort of like the proles because like they're still being exploited. They're still not getting paid entirely for what their labor's worth.
see, the PMC largely fit into the latter, the proletariat, with the exception of some rich professionals like lawyers or doctors who both work and maybe have a private practice where they hire a small number of employees.
Yo, what's up, Oliver Taylor? How's it going? I hope you're holding up alright during this pandemic. I don't know if it's touching your country very hard at all. I can't remember what country you live in specifically, but hope it's going well.
In which case they would have the dual class character of the petty bourgeoisie. In 1997, Michael Parenti recognised the error in the line of thinking that led to the designation of the PMC grouping. Class gets its significance from the process of surplus extraction. The relationship between worker and owner is essentially an exploitative one, involving the constant transfer of wealth from those who labour but do not own to those who own but do not labour. This is how some people get richer and richer without working, or with only doing a fraction of the work that enriches them, while others toil hard for an entire lifetime only to end up with little or nothing. Both
It's not that bad. That's good. That's good.
orthodox social scientists and quote left ABC anathema class theorists treat the diverse social factions within the non-capitalist class as classes unto themselves. So they speak of a blue-collar class, a professional class, and the like. In doing so, they claim to be moving beyond a quote reductionist, Marxist dualistic model of classes. But what is more reductionist than to ignore the underlying dynamics of economic power and the conflict between capital and labour? What?
So this is misleading because it doesn't deny okay, when people bring up like the professional managerial class and that it exists in other substratas like blue collar, white collar, etc., it doesn't deny the broader stratification of bourgeoisie and proletariat. they both can be true, right? You can recognize the broader stratification and then recognize that there's substratas still in between those.
What is more misleading than to treat occupational groups as autonomous classes, giving attention to every social group in capitalist society except the capitalist class itself, to every social conflict
Wait, no, that's not how that works. It's not, you don't just, like, it's not like it stops at the professional managerial class. You can still label people as bourgeoisie. This video doesn't make much sense to me, and these quotes are not making much sense either.
Class conflict. Both conventional and quote left ABC theorists have difficulty understanding that the creation of a managerial or technocratic social formation constitutes no basic change in the property relations of capitalism. No.
Wait, okay. It's not supposed to. The whole point of labeling people these ways is so that we can understand how capitalism has specifically affected them, right? Blue collar workers are going to be way more alienated than white collar workers. That's why these labels can be effective, because you can understand the different relations people have under capitalism, and you can try to relate to them that way. It's not getting rid of the broader categories. It's not creating new classes. It's creating substratas of the two main classes.
No creation of new classes. Professionals and managers are not an autonomous class as such. Rather, they are mental workers who live much better than most other employees, but who still serve the accumulation process on behalf of corporate owners.
Yes, everyone agrees with that. Cool.
Parenti was correct in calling out the blue-collar class, the professional class, and so on. The same level of scrutiny should be applied to other terms used by liberals, such as the welfare.
Why do they keep saying liberals? I'm not a liberal. Most people who say these aren't, I mean, they could be, but okay, it's bold to assume.
Class and the political class. Put simply, these aren't classes, just like the professional managerial class isn't. In fact, Karl Marx himself discussed...
Wait, who says the welfare state's a class? How is the welfare state a class? That sounds incoherent. And also, political class? I've never heard of that, but, I mean, it could be a thing. I don't see why not.
The roles of managers and professionals as part of the proletariat in the appendix to Capital Volume 1. Some work better with their hands, others with their heads. One is a manager, engineer, technologist, etc. The other is overseer. The third as manual labourer or even drudge. An ever-increasing number of types of labour are included in the immediate concept of productive labour, and those who perform it are classed as productive workers. Workers directly exploited by capital and subordinated to its process of production and expansion. As we see, it's clear that managers, as well as most professionals, are part of the proletariat from a Marxist perspective.
Bro. I wish that this was an interaction, because it's you're saying the same things over and over, but I'm telling you that yes, that is the case, but that doesn't mean that we can't have substratas and subcategories to explain certain groups so we can better understand their positions and experience.
Unless they own the means of production. Any so-called Marxist who tries to tell you otherwise should be treated with deep suspicion and prodded on the subject. Indeed, we should also prod the Ehrenreichs on how they came to the conclusion that the PMC was a separate class to the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. Let's examine their...
Yeah, no, I disagree with that. If you claim that they're a separate class, that's not the point of that class. The point of that class is to show the overlapping of the bourgeoisie and the proletariat within. It's like an intersection. Hence the term, petite bourgeoisie.
Their understanding of class. A class is characterised by a coherent social and cultural existence. Members of a class share a common lifestyle, educational background, kinship networks, consumption patterns, work habits, beliefs. Sure, forget your relationship to the means of production. Your consumption patterns and kinship networks are the true determinants of your class. Let's not forget your educational background, because the people who receive free third-level education in socialist countries and even social democracies are all just people.
Oh no, they said socialist countries. I'm confused on. I really. Why are they? I feel like they're gonna go on and like say like China or something. They're gonna say, I don't know, China, North Korea, the true socialist countries.
EMC. Why stop there? Why not suggest that class is determined by your accent, or by whether or not you enjoy classical music? As we can see clear as day, there's no place for such liberal analyses as the professional managerial class within Marxist class analysis. However, that's not to say that we should discard the notion that there are certain higher up groups within the proletariat that may.
That's the whole point of having these labels. You're literally conceding the necessity of these labels in the video.
Be inclined to work against their own class interests and support the bourgeoisie. Lenin himself wrote about these potential class traitors when he described a certain strata of the working class who have been bribed with imperialist super profits and converted to watchdogs of capitalism and corruptors of the labour movement. This is definitely an issue, and it's been addressed at length already within the Marxist canon. You can look into the labour aristocracy and related groups for more on this. To wrap up, not to be rude, but the PMC is divisive pseudo-Marxist nonsense. You should be sceptical of any so-called intellectuals you hear peddling this narrative. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't discuss professional managerial types, but it is to say that they aren't a class in the Marxist sense of the term. Thanks for watching. Thanks.
They are a class. You're wrong. They're a subclass of the two classes. This dude's an ML, right? I have no clue. Probably, if I had to guess, and probably a not very good one.
Especially to Michaela Schmid, Rare Hero, Luke.
Okay. I think that's the end of the video. If I had to guess, they're probably a Marxist-Leninist, a quote-unquote Marxist-Leninist. But they're probably not actually.
Now, here's one for you that tends to confuse.
Irish left-wing political commentary, history, cultural analysis, video essays, and all manner of nonsense from a socialist Republican Marxist perspective. This is a place for left unity, so Marxist, Leninist, anarchist, Trotskyists, and social democrats are all welcome here. In the neoliberal hellscape of modern times, we all need to work together in the fight against imperialism towards a fairer and more equitable world. They don't make it clear, but I would assume they're probably at least a Marxist.
Now, here's one for you.
Or at least claim to be a Marxist. Okay, we got another video to watch. Okay.
Oh, what is up, Tavarishi?
What is this?
So, you know that guy, the overtly cocky British dude that made his bug do a
Sargon?
Zeke Heil? You know, the guy whose face would probably peel off if he's anywhere close to a larger magnet? Well, he has that thing going on, absolute mad lads. And it always has some sort of political undertone.
Ew. Wait, what? I didn't even know this picture existed. No, I know it's Count Dankula. I said Sargon for a meme. I did not know this picture existed, and I didn't want to. This is disgusting.
But that's not going to be the topic of this video. No matter how ideologically idiotic this man is, I have to say, regretfully, that he does have a bit of charisma going on somewhere under that gingery balding head of his. The premise is simple. He finds someone who is absolutely batshit, borderline unbelievable, and does a commentary recap of their lives. Now, in typical socialist
The Xanderhole stream? What Xanderhole stream? I don't know what one you're talking about.
fashion, we will proceed to steal from the innovative capitalist and call it our own. Welcome to what will probably become a series. Absolute mad leftist lads and lassies. And for the first episode, what would be better than the Nazi-killing, man-shaming definition of absolute bloody badassery? Lyudmila Mikhailovna Pavlichenko. Just a name.
I haven't seen it.
So, Lyudmila was a young girl born in the fleeting years of the Russian Empire in what today is known as Ukraine. She grew up, though, in the Soviet Union. While working at an arms factory, she joined a local shooting club, patiently growing her skills as a sports shooter. Oh, the oppressive communists, a girl being allowed to join a shooting club.
I actually feel like this is going to be TOS or Get Me a Strike, because I feel like it's going to be encouraging violence, even though it might be against certain people, in which some people could argue it's justified. I don't know if that's TOS regardless, so I'm going to actually click off the video. I do feel like the video is probably entertaining, but being cautious, I'm going to click off. At least while I'm on stream. Oh yeah, no, Sleep, I completely understand. I appreciate you sending me it. I'm just not sure what it exactly says, and I feel like I know the route it's going in, and I don't know if that's okay to have on YouTube. I don't know. I'm not sure. The Lincoln Project.
They're doing a superb job.
Wait, did you mean to send this link at this specific time frame?
Project, those are good commercials.
Rick, how rewarding is it to win over the people you've demonized your entire career?
The result will probably be something similar to what this.
Okay, I can just rewind. It is a long video, so.
Hi, Mr. Maskey. Everybody, this is Mr. Maskey, the pandemic mask. Hi, Cody. Hi, everybody. I love you and I want to keep you safe. But Cody, why do so many people hate me? Because, Mr. Maskey, even though there's a global pandemic, our government doesn't care if we live or die, and wearing masks has become a partisan issue. So some people would rather give everyone's grandma COVID to own the libs than to be cucked by a.
Listen here. It's not solely a government issue. It is not solely a government issue. Well, the government is like the Trump administration is horrible, and they've definitely fueled the fire. If you just look at the haircut rallies and all of that stuff, like these conservatives, some of them are so crazy, so silly, so goofy. Like, trust me, it's not just a government issue. Like, these people would find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. I don't know if y'all have seen all those like videos of like those like people who like walk into stores and are just like yelling about how they have to wear a mask, but these people are crazy.
Piece of fabric that can save lives. Oh, well, that's f***ing stupid. It sure is, Mr. Maskey. Now you go get on someone's face and save some lives while I talk about the news. Well, in these trying times, we are desperately looking for some responsible leadership. As it turns out, Trump, the guy who called Mexicans rapists and put children in cages, actually doesn't care that much about what happens to people in a pandemic.
We have tested almost 40.
Is that supposed to be a surprise? No, I'm just kidding. I know that they said it sarcastically, but yeah, Trump has sucked on this pandemic, and I'm actually curious to like. I wonder if it's actually affected him politically at all. I would imagine it has to. Like, there's no way that his response to the pandemic could have benefited him, right? Like, denying it. Like, I'm curious if it did affect him. How much?
Million people. By so doing, we show cases, 99% of which are totally harmless.
That's not true. We're approaching 3 million cases in the United States. There have been about 130,000 fatalities here in the United States. The hospitalization rate alone is close to 20% cumulatively over the 6 months or so of the pandemic.
Even if the government demanded people to wear masks, these conservatives wouldn't comply with those laws. Yeah, it's because conservatives... Here, there's an interesting, like, thing when it comes to wearing masks, right? So, what conservatives are arguing for, and they might not understand it, is they're arguing for negative rights, right? Whereas people who are arguing that you should wear masks are like arguing for positive rights. The difference between the two is negative rights are basically like saying that the only rights that exist are like, or the only obligations you have are to not violate people's rights, right? So, like, asking people to wear masks is a violation of their rights. Therefore, it's wrong. Positive rights are, like, saying that you have an obligation to, like do X thing for X person, right? Because, like, in order to respect their rights. Obviously, in the case of a pandemic, negative rights make zero sense whatsoever. And it would make more sense, like, to recognize, like, your obligation to other people in favor of positive rights. But I just think it's interesting because, like, that's the debate that's being had when you're arguing over masks, even if people don't know it. I think even if you assume a negative rights paradigm, though, you could still argue, like, it's a violation of other people's rights to spread COVID. And even if, like, it is a violation to mandate people wear masks, if you don't wear a mask, you're violating other people's rights by, like, involuntarily spreading COVID to them, or potentially doing so. I don't know. I think it's an interesting debate in general. Sleep says, I've seen his base get mildly about him not doubling down hard enough. I think his base likes his response. His base, obviously. But the question is about the broader conservative, like, the broader conservative party. And independents who voted for Trump in 2016. Oliver Taylor says, but right. Yeah, they don't understand that there's different kinds of rights, and that they don't understand that. It's interesting. Because, like, it's just because both sides are arguing for rights. It's just a question of what does it mean to have rights, or, like, to protect rights. So yeah. Pump says, Governor of Georgia made it illegal for cities to pass laws enforcing and wearing masks. That is disgusting. Governor of Georgia is, I mean, honestly, probably making the right move, because Georgia is more conservative. But, like, I'm saying making the right move, like, politically wise, not in any other sense. Like, I'm saying in order to get reelected, it probably makes more sense for that individual to pass that law, or making it illegal to pass laws such as that.
Whoopsie duper! The guy who said he could shoot a guy on Fifth Avenue and not lose a single vote is not a good person, and in fact, doesn't care if we live or die. Shocking! Weird! More 11. What we need right now is a knight in shining armor to come save us from Donald Trump. No, it's not the enraged masses, or all the protesters, or an overwhelming population of rightfully angry voters. We need leadership. Guidance. We need an adult in the room.
To clarify on what I just said, I'm not saying it's good the Georgia governor did that. I'm saying that it makes sense from the Georgia governor's perspective that they did that. It is very bad that they did that, though. Just in case I wasn't clear enough before.
We need the Lincoln Project. The Lincoln Project is a group of extremely concerned conservatives who, gosh darn it, and shucks, are sick and tired of the Trump fellow.
The Lincoln Project, launched today and formed by several of Trump's fiercest conservative critics, has already raised over $1 million in its pursuit to defeat Donald Trump in the next election.
They are doing tougher ads against Trump than any Democratic group. Here is tonight's latest effort.
Something's wrong with Donald Trump. He's shaky, weak, trouble speaking, trouble walking. So why are we talking about this?
Those who are lost now, they're...
Damn. All things that apply to Biden, too. We really got him with this ad.
Legacy must be our lives. Amazing grace. I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers.
Okay, now that's actually a good part of the ad, like showing that he's dispatching thousands of soldiers on the street. That's good.
Was from the Lincoln Project.
By the way, all of those people who set those ads, and those ads are set to air in Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, it bears repeating, every one of them, not only Republicans, but Republicans who, at least the ones that I know that are involved in there, worked on Republican campaigns, spent their adult life promoting Republican candidates.
The Lincoln Project describes themselves thusly. The founders of the Lincoln Project have spent over 200 years electing Republicans, but now they've sparked a nationwide movement with a singular mission: to defeat Donald Trump and Trumpism. Now, given that the Lincoln Project was founded in 2019 by people who were alive in 2019, they are apparently time-traveling Republicans too. Like, obviously they meant collectively. They've been doing it for like 200 years if you add them all together, but like, come on, guys. Like, what do you, like, give me a break. Okay. I don't want to look a gift Lincoln in the mouth. Trump is a monster who might destroy us all. Ha 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 ha. Oof. And if the Lincoln Project wants to spend a chunk of money on ads against him, who am I to clutch my lefty pearls? It's a good thing if they're able to convince some Republicans to not vote for Trump Trump, or even to vote against him. Besides, the Lincoln Project has some pretty decent positions, like that it's bad for the government to kidnap people off the streets using jackbooted thugs, and that we shouldn't be killing people with COVID. They've called Mitch McConnell out for being a vaguely human-shaped slug monster. They've made cool boner jokes, and they've praised Ronald Reagan, citing him as an inspiration for their work, and thanked George W. Bush.
Ew, Ronald Reagan. They don't convince anyone? Probably not. But listen here. If they want to waste their money on it, and it's not doing anything harmful, and maybe they convince one person, whatever. Go ahead. Go ahead. As long as they don't have any sort of control or pull in the Democratic Party, I don't give a shit.
Push for the bare minimum in anti-racism. So, but wait, what? These hip and cool Republicans 2.0 still revere Ronald trickle-down tax cuts for the wealthy, apartheid South Africa supporting racist dog-whistling murderers, contra-funding Reagan, and George blood-soaked war in Iraq and Afghanistan that killed at least 500,000 people that was all based on a lie Bush? Well, maybe the folks running the Lincoln Project are some good-hearted conservatives who simply don't know any better, who missed the memo about the nearly decades-long wars in the Middle East, all the torture we did. We should probably...
Also, if you're going to support Bush and Reagan, to not support Trump doesn't make much sense at all. Like, what is it about Trump that's gonna make you not support him, but you'll support Reagan and Bush? Is it the fact that Trump hasn't, like, started a war in the Middle East, like, full on yet? Like, I'm confused. Is it, like, is it because he's not far enough, right? Or is it... I'm confused. They think Joe Biden is more likely to start a war in the Middle East, so that's why they're supporting him. No, but, like, I guess it must be, like, the civility politics is why? Is it just because, like, Donald Trump's mean on Twitter, so that's why they don't like him? So confused.
Let the Lincoln Project know that their heroes did a few mass murderous whoopsie-daisies. I'm sure they'd be shocked to hear it. Let's talk to Ben Howe, the Lincoln Project's video whiz. I'm sure he'll be upset to hear about all the murders and stuff. Ben? Oh, well, okay. Well, here he is coming in with the pro-murder hot take in 2014. Sorry, pro-self-defense hot take after he tweeted referring to the police shooting of an unarmed black man in Ferguson. Give me a gun. Put me in Darren Wilson's shoes. I'd have shot Mike Brown right in his face. I said black man, he's a kid. Shot a kid, dead. Anyway, well, he doesn't speak for the whole organization, and they kicked him out when old tweets where he called people the C word came out. So let's talk to one of the Lincoln Project's prominent founders, Steve Schmidt. Steve, guess what, bud? The Lincoln Project tweeted out, Dick Cheney, welcome to the resistance, just because he wears a face mask. But Steve, did you know that Dick Cheney was the architect of an illegal war that killed at least 500,000 people and lied about torture being effective so he could keep torturing people? Oh, silly me, you probably do know that, because you're that Steve Schmidt, the guy who worked for Cheney as deputy assistant to President George W. Bush and counselor to Vice President Cheney and helped run their re-election campaign. Any good hits from Rick Wilson, also of the Lincoln Project and lifelong Republican...
Dick Cheney's disgusting, but guess what? Everything you're saying about this person supporting Dick Cheney is bad, but you know who else thinks Dick Cheney is a good guy? Joe Biden. Joe Biden's literally said before that he thinks Dick Cheney is an alright guy.
Operative paid to lie about and attack the party he is currently trying to influence? Oh, lots of them? Cool. So these are the very thoughtful, good decision makers involved with the Lincoln Project. Now, I might be accused of purity testing or thinking that just because they supported previous criminal presidents doesn't
like everything you're saying is actually pointing me into the direction to me understanding why they support Joe Biden. Oh, wait, what'd I just do?
Project, they're doing a superb job.
The Lincoln Project, those are good.
know that their heroes did a few mass murderous whoopsie-daisies. I'm sure they'd be shocked to hear it. Let's talk to Ben Howe, the Lincoln Project's video whiz. I'm sure he'll be upset to hear about all... Oh, lots of them?
Oh, that's a lot of slurs that just got thrown up on screen, I think.
I might be accused of purity testing or thinking that just because they supported previous criminal presidents doesn't mean we shouldn't be thankful they don't support this criminal president. But actually, I am thankful they're coming out against Trump. I think it's swell. I hope their ads help beat Trump in November. I hope Trump shits himself after losing on national TV, and that he's held accountable for at least one of his many, many crimes, and maybe gets put in jail for, all his fascist hobbies, and how his negligence in the face of the coronavirus pandemic has killed over 100,000 people in the U.S. Maybe we could do that. That'd be cool. But after that, I hope we never hear from the Lincoln Project again, because their morals seem to amount to, we support murderous presidents, but we like polite, folksy ones, and for them to kill people in other countries, not in America itself. Come on, folks, get on board with the project. But that's not going to be the case. The Lincoln Project, and all the never Trump conservatives, won't just meekly accept that their brand of republicanism is actually what created Donald Trump. They won't sheepishly fade into the...
Trump was not held accountable. They'll look back on this moment. They'll look back on this moment. To my stream, the narrator will look back at this very moment I paused this video. They'll pause this... I don't know how to articulate it, but they'll pause this moment in time and say Trump was not held accountable. Because, let's be honest, no matter what, if Trump wins or loses, anything he did he's not going to be charged for when he's out of office. Also, like, didn't Obama literally pardon was it Obama or who was it that pardoned the previous president before them? I think it might have been Obama. Can't recall.
Background, suddenly realizing the follies of their ways. In fact, they'll just use their new position of being friendly with Democrats and the resistance.
I might be way wrong about that, though, by the way, so don't take that with a grain of salt. Who do I think will win the election? Currently, if I had to guess, probably Joe Biden, because he's, like, hiding, and so if he's hiding, no one can actually, like, hear how bad he is. And Trump just sort of keeps making himself look bad. So it's sort of like it's a downhill fight for Biden. The only thing that could mess him up is himself, which it seems like they're trying to prevent him from doing. But it seems like Trump just keeps on like fucking things over for himself.
To try to push them further to the right. In fact, they've been getting a lot of positive attention from the liberal resistance, like from MSNBC. Here's a montage by the Colbert Report in a real chill interview they had with Lincoln Project's Rick Wilson.
I don't give money to political organizations. I give money to Lincoln Project because of ads like this.
The Lincoln Project is like watching a Jay-Z Nas rap battle. I mean, they don't let up on this president.
I want the Democrats to pay attention to the Lincoln Project. They're doing a superb job.
The Lincoln Project, those are good commercials.
Rick, how rewarding is it to win over the people you've demonized your entire career?
The result will probably be something similar to what this analysis on 538 found about never-Trumpers back in May. That never-Trumpers are increasingly involved in the Democratic Party and have gradually shifted their tactics in that direction, effectively becoming a never-Trump and never-Bernie Sanders coalition. And they appear to be having more success shaping their new party than the one that many of them had been associated with for much of their lives. According to the analysis...
Yeah, that's what I'm scared of, is that these never-Trumpers are just gaining political pull, or maybe not political, but whatever, you know what I'm saying. They're gaining more power and more pull in the political party, the Democratic Party. That's what I meant to say. It's like, it makes you sad.
Never-Trump conservatives have entrenched themselves in the Democratic Party by becoming overrepresented in the media, by allying with centrist Democrats, and by forming a faction in the Democratic Party that may actually be able to sway Democrats to the right. And hey, it's very intentional. A leading Never-Trump activist, frequent MSNBC guest, director of Republican Voters Against Trump, and cool dude who worked on Jeb Bush's campaign, Tim Miller, bragged about what he claimed was the Never-Trumper influence over the election. Sorry, let me be more specific. Over the Democratic primary election. Miller said, one group that really mattered in the primaries were the high-information voters, the people who watch MSNBC, listen to The Daily. A lot of these people went from Harris to Warren to Buttigieg and finally landed on Biden. For these voters, it was all an assessment of who could defeat Trump. For them, we never-Trumpers have a unique experience and insight. Counterpoint on never-Trumpers having a unique insight on who can defeat Trump, this photo, followed by this photo. Another never-Trumper, former CIA operative, former Republican, and independent in the 2016 presidential campaign, Evan McMullin said, quote, "Our message before and during the early primary elections was that principled conservatives and Republicans were a winnable bloc and could provide the decisive votes in general election swing states as long as Democrats didn't nominate a divisive far-left candidate. Appropriately, Democratic voters prioritized replacing Trump in 2020 above other issues." Now, we don't know if the claims the never-Trumpers are making that they influenced the Democratic primary are true, but we do know they were featured heavily on MSNBC. And literally, here's Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer giving away the entire game.
For every blue-collar Democrat we will lose in Western PA, we will pick up 2-3 moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philadelphia.
No, you won't. That's not how it works. Okay, what these Democrats don't understand is that for Republicans, it's mostly about the label. You don't have the label Republican, you're probably not getting their vote. Alright, Oliver, thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night. I don't know what time it is for you, but again, thanks for stopping by. But yeah, no, it's like, you're misunderstanding. Like, there's no way Chuck Schumer actually believes that. Like, for most people, not even just conservatives, it's usually about the label. Like, people usually don't go beyond the label. So there's no way that you're gaining more than you're losing, I feel like.
And you can repeat that in Ohio.
Like, people, like, obviously your argument would be that these people can't turn to any other party, but it's like they can become politically apathetic and just not go out and vote, which the majority of the country doesn't.
Now, the problem with this is, well, there are actually a few problems, dozens possibly, but here are at least a couple. First is that the never-Trump elites, such as the founders of the Lincoln Project, aren't the same as regular voters who are turning against Trump, whether they're independents, Republicans, or former Trump voters. Independents tend to be more anti-establishment, according to Pew Research, who found that independents feel more negatively about political candidates and parties than partisans. So you can't assume that the extremely establishment Republican Lincoln Project actually represents independent voters, especially independents who possibly voted for Trump in 2016 in a misguided attempt to pick a political outsider, who now might feel duped. Because they were. In fact, the Lincoln Project even admits that it's only trying to turn out a single-digit percentage of the electorate of Republicans, Republican-leaning independents against Trump, which is it's fine. But maybe we should reconsider how much influence we should give them over the Democratic Party. Like how our never-Trumper friend Tim Miller hopes Biden doesn't listen to the left, saying, quote, I don't want him, Biden, to make crazy sacrifices to the left that he doesn't need to make. Cool, Tim Miller. Why should we care about what you want? Your party created Donald Trump. And because you're a very smart boy, you want Democrats to listen to you and become the new, hip Republican Party that still does wars and f***s over poor people, but at least does it without a fake tan. The Lincoln Project spends most of its money on themselves, but the part that they spend on the actual operation, it's mostly like online ads. Not a lot of TV ads targeting folks in Wisconsin or Michigan, because the goal here, the project, is to ingratiate themselves with the liberal elites, get their money, and yes, Trump bad, no more.
Get their money? I'm confused. I guess I don't understand how they would get money from the liberal elites. Maybe that could be some more clarification. Like, are they getting donations or something? And even if they are getting donations, I doubt. Like, I feel like it would not make them more money than their ads are costing. I'm not sure though.
More Trump, but when Trump comes,
it feels to me like it's not so much a money grab. It's in the long run it might be, but not immediately. It seems to me more like political power grab in the Democratic Party, right? And trying to more so bring the Overton window to the right, which inevitably would save them money. It's just like, I don't know. It's interesting.
gone, more things that led to Trump. Because another problem, like a real problem with the never-Trumpers and anti-Trump Republicans infiltrating the Dems is that it makes all of them focus on the corruption and bizarreness and cruelty of Trump the guy, as opposed to what he says and does, and the racist, imperialist, American superiority ideology that fuels him and led to him. It's all about trolling him and attacking Trump's character, instead of looking at Trump the symptom and communicating to voters why his American fascism is bad, and what we can do for people as a way of combating it. To do this would require introspection from the Republicans definitely, but also Biden and the Dems. They can't and won't do this, because it would mean admitting profound faults in the status quo.
This is true. Very true.
That they're not prepared or willing to change. Basically, the Lincoln Group and other never-Trumpers want to set the bar of morality to polite criminal murderer presidents. They object to orange reality show presidents who ignore a pandemic, killing hundreds of thousands, but not charming jelly bean-eating presidents who ignore a pandemic, killing hundreds of thousands. And surely, we can't set the bar of human decency to murdered and tortured people, but hey, at least he gave some candy to Michelle Obama. And I'm not saying both sides bad, why even bother? Because I definitely think Trump needs to be voted out of office, because he is, in fact, an incompetent psychopath who doesn't care if we live or die, and who's kidnapping people in Portland, all during an election year. So who knows what kinds of fun, fascist tomfoolery he'll get up to when he's not theoretically being held accountable by voters. Call me a hopeless optimist, but I feel like we shouldn't have to choose between polite war criminals and full-blown fascism. If that makes me a cucked, loony lefty, so be it. What do you think?
True.
Mr. Maskey? Fascism! COVID! For God's sake, people, I'm trying to save you from a disease! Put me on your face!
I'm not gonna lie. Some more news is cringy, but very informative.
For the love of God, I had to sit on Dick Cheney's sweaty face. Do you know what it's like to protect people from the mouth of a war criminal with no pulse? I let you spit on me all day to save your grandparents from a horrible death. Where are me, you cowards? Thanks, Mr. Maskey. My favorite spit has been from Tom Hanks. He's a national treasure.
Also, my question is, wouldn't the eyes be on the side of its face? Because it's supposed to be worn, like, horizontally?
The truth. The end.
Okay, there we go. It's not cringy. Yes, it is. They're good videos, but they're cringy. You can't even lie. Maskey doesn't follow the rules of eye placement. Apparently not. You know what? You do what you gotta do. Women, have you seen non-complete puppet videos? Some. Not very many. Kamala Harris says Russian bots started Kaepernick controversy. Yeah, here's the thing, is that Democrats are so ludicrous, they think Russia does everything. And it's like, well, yeah, Russia's suspicious, and they have done some things, like to interfere in our election mildly. There's a few things. They've done that, right? That doesn't mean they've done everything else you claim they have, especially when you have such minimal evidence. And secondly, if it's a problem to interfere with other people's elections, which it is, maybe the US should stop fucking doing that. Like, not only does the US interfere with other countries' elections, they'll fucking perform whole ass coups They won't even give a fuck about the election. They'll just fucking take over your goddamn country with a U.S. puppet, buddy. So, like, yeah, like, if you care so much, then why don't you care about it abroad? That's the point. They made a bunch of social media accounts to exacerbate shit? Probably. Oh, you're talking about the Russians? Of course they did. Probably. Coops? Did I? Coos. Shut up. Coos. It's Coos, that's right. What if it ends up that Hillary's a Russian bot? It probably is true. I don't know. Confirm Lemon is a Russian plant. I don't know if I said that already, but yes, I am not a Russian plant for any authority that may be watching this, but for the purposes of irony, I will claim to be. In a video game. I think I'm safe. It would be very ironic if Hillary was the Russian bot. She claims everyone else is attached to Russia, like she claimed Tulsi Gabbard was, or whatever. It's like, okay, buddy. Read the Madison story. I don't know which one that is. What's the Madison story? Why is my phone keep going off? That's annoying. Is it the lesser evil one? Scroll up. Oh, here. Alright, we're going to be reading a story real quick, and it's trying to ask me a survey that I don't want to answer, so get the heck out of my face. Is it not going to let me... Why is everything... Is it not going to... What? I just want to read the article. Where is it? It's like throwing up big images. Okay, it's not letting me read the actual article for some reason. I don't know why. But it says Madison among cities no longer sending police to Democratic National Convention, I think is what it's saying. You have ad block? No. So I don't. Oh, here. It's letting me read now. The Madison Police Department is one of more than 100 police agencies withdrawing from agreement to send personnel to bolster security at next month's Democratic National Convention in Milwaukee. But the city says its decision was made before a recent directive ordering police in the city to stop using tear gas to control crowds. In March, the city council approved sending up to 100 officers to the convention. The officers would have been deployed to the city for 10 days. Madison's assistant police chief said in an email that Madison notified Milwaukee area in this month that an accelerating COVID-19 pandemic coupled with ongoing protests in Madison have strained City of Madison Police Department resources to a degree that we are no longer able to commit any resources to the August 2020 DNC. So let's see. Let's read the end. Our concern is that in the event protests turn non-peaceful, such a policy would remove tools from officers that may otherwise be legal and justifiable to utilize in specific situations. Wasali's Deputy Chief Robert Fletcher told the journalist to know in an email. Lamb sent a letter about limiting the use of tear gas and pepper spray. Okay, so is they what? Pump is the whole thing here is that the police don't want to help the Democratic National Convention because basically what's been told to them is that they can't use tear gas and pepper spray. So they're like, we're not gonna have the resources now because they want to use tear gas and pepper spray. It's like they didn't even tell you can't use rubber bullets. Cops, you gotta, yeah. But yeah, that's absurd. It's just the cops are being fuckers because, whatever. Does anyone have anything else they want me to watch or look at? We've been streaming for an hour, so I'm not opposed to ending it if everyone's fine. We went over Ben Shapiro and the WAP whole scandal or whatever. We went over, what else did we go over other than the Lincoln Project? Oh, we went over that one dude's video talking about how there's no professional managerial class, which is ludicrous. Actually, I did have one thing that I might have scheduled. We might be going on someone's stream tonight. You're cool, good stream, buddy. Thank you for coming. We might be going on someone's stream tonight, though, so we might not be over yet. I don't know when they're streaming. They said they had to replace the headphone jack, so we might not end up streaming tonight. Which is, or streaming with them tonight, which is okay. I'm gonna shoot them a message real quick, ask them if there's any update, and then we'll see if they can get back to me. Oh, by the way, y'all, thank you so much for 350 followers. That was pretty cool. Or not 350 followers, 350 subscribers. Have you seen Tucker's racist rant on gentrification? I have not. If you can send a link, that would be cool. I am open to watching that on stream. I want to see what Tucker has to say about gentrification. Huh. I can't find the videos on Humanist Report. Humanist Report, okay.
Meanwhile, this speaks to broad. So interesting. As the mob attacked her, they explained their agenda. Quote, "This isn't your world anymore," they shouted. "Put your mask on." Boy, does that tell you everything. Meanwhile, in the city of Chicago, rioters have dropped any pretense of ideology. Sure, they'll vote for Joe Biden, obviously, but this isn't about the election. They just want to steal things. And in effect, authorities there, as they are in so many places, are allowing them to do that. Early this morning, caravans of looters sacked.
Sorry, hold on. Someone.
Stores in downtown Chicago. Here's part of it.
Okay. Oh. Oh God. I'm confused what's going on. I'm so confused. Is Tucker basically just is Tucker? Hold on. Hold on. Honestly, I didn't even know protests were still going like this. It's kind of crazy that protests are still going. Like, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Pump, is that just what Tucker's saying? Holy shit, that sounded like... Wait, what happened?
Country is this? And what's the justification for that? There's always a story at the bottom of these things that the media repeat, allow them to believe it was justified. The pretext for that theft and destruction you just saw was a false report that a teenager had been executed by the police. It was a lie, as it turned out. It usually is a lie.
What do you mean it's usually a lie? That's so cap. It usually isn't a lie.
In fact, a 20-year-old had been killed after shooting at the police. Whatever. We're so used to violence.
Is that even true? Like, I don't know what story this is. I can't just trust Tucker Carlson's word. It's Tucker Carlson.
Violence justified by lies that few people seem to notice the difference. And speaking of, just this weekend, Joe Biden honored Michael Brown, that was the man killed in Ferguson, Missouri, after he violently attacked a store owner on tape, and then a cop.
Wait, first of all, did he? I don't remember. Okay, I'm not very familiar with these stories. You have to remember I was like way younger at this time. If I recall correctly, I don't think he did violently attack a cop. I thought what happened is that he just had like some loose cigarettes and they were like he was underage, and then like a cop like murdered him for that. Also, even if he was being like resisting arrest, as long as he wasn't being lethal or had any like lethal weapon, I don't really know why you would shoot him. I don't know enough about the story, and I feel like Tucker Carlson isn't telling the truth, so yeah.
Joe Biden apparently doesn't remember that part. He seems to consider Michael Brown a martyr. It's hard to know who in America still believes these lies. Most people no longer seem to believe anything they hear from politicians. When everything is political, we learn to trust nothing. But one thing that is real and will always be real is the debris left behind. Bullet holes are real. So are burned stores. So are boarded up windows and terrified neighbors.
So are dead black people. Those are real as well. Don't know if you know that or not, but those are things that you can't get back. Those are people that are just not gonna come back. Your stores can be fixed. Alright, buddy? So, when people are unjustly killed, you can understand why people might start breaking shit. Because of your attachment to these things, right? That are material objects that aren't like actual human or anything, or even alive in any sense. I don't understand conservatives because they display such an emotional attachment to like these material objects that aren't like alive or have like any like reason to be compassionate towards whatsoever. But they don't give a fuck about these people dying. It makes no sense to me at all. It's just like,
That will always be real. And we have it. So what will be the aftermath of all of this? What are America's cities going to look like a year from now?
The aftermath is hopefully maybe some reform and some better training for police and a lot of other things. That's what we hope the aftermath would be, but probably not because people like you who missed the picture.
There's no question people will flee Georgetown. They may have BLM signs in their driveways. It doesn't mean they want screaming BLM lunatics on their streets. They don't. Nobody does, actually, no matter what they tell you. No matter what color they are. No one likes that. That's true for people in Georgetown, in Portland, Oregon, in San Francisco, in Chicago, New York,
I think people are okay with the protest in their community as long as they aren't harming people and aren't breaking personal property that like actually belongs to like citizens.
Any other place where order and decency.
But that's just what it seems like to me. I mean, I might be wrong, but also that even if I were, that wouldn't deny the like whether or not the protests are just.
Have disappeared. People will not live long with chaos. No matter what they tell you, no matter what signs they put in their yard, they will leave. And many of them have already left. We're about to see one of the great demographic shifts in American history.
Okay, this is just cap. There's no backing for this whatsoever.
The insanity stops, and soon, our biggest cities will revert to what they were 50 years ago. Broke, dirty, and dangerous. On the bright side, we'll have resolved the gentrification problem. So, a lot of college students.
It doesn't sound like that at all. What? No, you would... If people are just gonna leave, that would result in more gentrification, but okay. Like, it sounds like he was explaining white flight, but then... Okay, Tucker Carlson doesn't understand anything that he's talking about, and it's just... Don't take Tucker Carlson seriously at all. I don't know if I'm going to go on that stream later tonight, because they haven't messaged me back yet, so I don't know what times they're looking at, but if I do, I might start streaming again later. I'm going to end my stream now. Thank you all for watching. I enjoyed it. I'm glad to come back. Yes, Tucker Carlson is very racist and incoherent. Like, that whole shit. Like, Tucker Carlson gives more shits about private property than about black people's lives. And it's sad. Anyways, peace. I'll see y'all in the next one. I hope you all had a good day. Or have a good day, rather. My words today have just not been working. I have not been able to speak. Anyways,